You know that achy, kind of rundown feeling you get after some vaccines? Ever wonder what's actually going on in your body? Well, it turns out that feeling is literally the sound of your immune system's alarm bells ringing. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful alarm signals in our entire body, a molecule called interferon gamma. So yeah, let's dive in and unpack this master switch of our immune defense. All right, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with why that immune alarm goes off in the first place. Then, we'll properly meet our star player, interferon gamma, and see how its message gets delivered inside our cells. From there, we'll uncover the really cool identify and destroy system it turns on. And finally, we'll look at why this powerful weapon can sometimes be a bit of a double-edged sword.
Okay, first up, that alarm system. And to really get what's happening on a tiny microscopic level, we can actually look at something most of us have felt, getting a vaccine. I mean, it's a pretty common question, right? You get a shot, and sometimes you feel totally fine, and other times it feels like you've been hit by a truck. That difference? It's not just in your head. It is absolutely happening at a molecular level. And this is where it gets really fascinating. When researchers dug into the COVID-19 vaccines, they found a super clear difference. You can see it in this chart. The adenovector vaccines made the body produce a way higher interferon gamma response than the mRNA vaccines did. That stronger signal is often the very reason behind those more intense, flu-like side effects. So the key takeaway here is that the stronger feeling you get is your body reacting to a much louder molecular alarm. You can think of interferons as the town criers of your immune system, running through your body and shouting that a threat has arrived, whether it's a real virus or a vaccine that's just pretending to be one. So if interferons are the alarm bell itself, who's the emergency dispatcher coordinating the whole response? Well, that brings us to our main character for today, interferon gamma. So what is interferon gamma, or IFN-γ for short? It's a type of protein called a cytokine. And you can just think of a cytokine as a top priority red alert message for the immune system. When your elite forces, cells like T cells and natural killer cells, spot a serious problem, they blast out IFN-γ to tell everybody else, hey, get ready for a fight. It's the command that kicks the entire defense into high gear. And this signal isn't a one-trick pony. It responds to all kinds of threats. Viral infections are a big one, which is exactly what we see happening with some of those vaccines. But it also gets fired off during bacterial infections. And this is huge in modern medicine. It's a major player in immunotherapy, where we actually guide our immune system to attack cancer. It can even be triggered by other immune signals in this sort of cascading alert system. Okay, so the alarm has been sounded loud and clear, but how does an ordinary cell just kind of floating around and doing its job actually get the message? Right? Interferon gamma is on the outside of the cell, but all the important stuff has to happen on the inside. So how does that signal actually cross the border and deliver its instructions? Well, the answer is this incredible internal relay race called the JAK/STAT pathway. Here's how it works. First, interferon gamma docks onto a special receptor on the outside of the cell. Think of it like ringing a doorbell. That ring activates a protein on the inside called JAK. Then, JAK passes the message on to a special courier protein called STAT1. It does this by tagging it with a tiny molecule called a phosphate group. That's basically the baton in our relay race. Now, once two of these STAT1 couriers get tagged, they pair up. This pair is now an official messenger, and it gets a VIP all-access pass to go straight into the cell's nucleus, the command center, to deliver its urgent orders. And that brings us to the main event, the identify and destroy system. The messenger has made it to the command center. So what are its orders? The command is simple, and it is urgent. The cell is ordered to drop what it's doing, all its normal day-to-day business, and immediately upgrade its internal security machinery. It needs to build new tools right now to find and expose any hidden enemies. And one of the first upgrades is a perfect example of this. You see, every cell has a standard proteasome. It's kind of like a regular office paper shredder for recycling old documents. But when interferon gamma gives the order, the cell builds a brand new model, the immunoproteasome. This thing is a high-security cross-cut shredder designed for one job, to chop up suspicious proteins, like bits of a virus or a cancer mutation, into tiny pieces for inspection. So what happens to all those little shredded pieces of evidence? They get put on display. That's where MHC class I molecules come in. They act like little display cases on the surface of the cell.
Their job is to grab those protein fragments that the immunoproteasome just made and hold them up on the outside for any passing immune cells to see. So let's put it all together. The souped-up immunoproteasome shreds the enemy's proteins. The MHC class I molecules present the evidence on the surface. The cell is now, for all intents and purposes, holding up a giant flag that says, "Help me, I'm infected," or "I'm becoming cancerous." And when a passing cytotoxic T cell, one of the immune system's elite soldiers, sees that flag, it knows exactly what to do: eliminate the compromised cell to protect the rest of the body. But, and there's always a but with any system this powerful, there's a flip side. What happens when this alarm gets stuck in the on position or just rings way too loud? That brings us to our final section, a double-edged sword. This quote from a research paper really just nails it. It says that the very same system, these immunoproteasomes, can have either good or bad effects. It's not always the hero. It all depends on the context, the disease, and where in the body this is all happening. This table lays it out so clearly. Look at myocarditis. That's inflammation of the heart. Yeah, this pathway can help clear out damaged proteins, but it can also just pour gasoline on the fire and make the inflammation worse. In Alzheimer's, it can stir up harmful inflammation in the brain, but it also might help clear out some of those toxic protein clumps. And in cancer, it's the whole key to helping T cells find tumors. But the cancer can also hijack the system. And this is just a brilliant and frankly sinister twist. Some really clever tumor cells have figured this out. When they hear that interferon gamma alarm, they react by putting up a shield. They start expressing a molecule called PDL1, which is basically an invisibility cloak. It tells the incoming T cell, "Nope, nothing to see here, just move along," and the tumor gets away scot-free. So that leaves us with this huge question for the future of medicine. We are getting so much better at pulling this immune alarm on purpose, using incredible therapies to sick our own bodies on cancers and viruses. But as we learn how to aim this ridiculously powerful weapon, the real trick is going to be figuring out how to control the blast radius. How do we make sure we keep the safety on?